Hey parents, Mr. Jim here. Ever since Osmo sent us our Genius Starter Kit, it's become the kids' favorite games to play with at home. The best part is how well they're designed to encourage learning in a way that's actually exciting. I've honestly never seen my kids pick up new skills as fast as they are after playing with Osmo. I can't help but play along with my kids as we're having a blast playing games that explore math, puzzles, art, reading, and more. Genius Starter Kits come with a base and reflector that fit most iPad models. Available at playosmo.com. That's playosmo.com. Osmo, learning well played. Hey friends, it's Mr. Jim, and welcome back to Kid Short Stories. If this is your first time or you're still newer to our family, I want to encourage you to try 5. That's our challenge where for 5 days in a row, your kids listen to some awesome stories to use their imagination and watch their creativity come to life. You see, we make stories every single day for you, and you just never know what kind of story you're going to find on any given day. So hang with me for 5 days, whether maybe driving in the car or maybe during lunchtime, and I think you're going to find something pretty amazing happens. Well, friends, are you ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go! Look at this! Look at this! My tooth! Look, it's loose! As she opened her mouth, Nora put her tongue on this loose tooth and was able to wiggle it back and forth. She had had this loose tooth for a very long time, but it wasn't until today that it became very loose. Have you ever had a loose tooth before that became very floppy? Yeah, that is what Nora's tooth is doing. It's just hanging on by a little thread. And now she's got to figure out a way to get that tooth out of her mouth. Earlier today at school, some of her friends had come up with some pretty wild ways to get a tooth out of your mouth.
You should tie a string around your tooth and tie the other string to the doorknob and then slam the door shut.
Oh, no, you should. Yeah, with the string, but you can attach it to like a Nerf dart and blast it off and it'll fly right out of your mouth. Nora was a little bit overwhelmed by all of her friends' suggestions. Have you ever felt overwhelmed before? Yeah, it's a big word and a big feeling. Feeling overwhelmed might mean like there's too many choices, or maybe she felt like those other kids were pressuring her into doing what they wanted her to do with her loose tooth. The more she thought about it, the more nervous Nora felt about this loose tooth. But right now, after she got home from school and was now looking in the mirror in her bathroom, wiggling her tooth using her tongue, she came up with an idea. Maybe I don't need any of those complicated ways to pull out the tooth, like the string and the door and the other things. Maybe I should just pull it out with my fingers. Whoa, that would be a really simple, easy way to do it. Nora's pretty brave, and sometimes it's just easier to go with the simpler choice. All right. Nora calmed her breathing by breathing 3 deep breaths, which helped her feel a lot better. And then, without even thinking twice about it, pop! She pulled the tooth and it popped right out of her mouth. She started shouting as loud as she could for everyone in her house to know the amazing thing that had just happened. Have you ever pulled a tooth out of your mouth? Isn't that exciting? Yeah, it can hurt a little bit, but wow, that is a big, big deal. You may think that's the end of our adventure, but we are nowhere near close to getting through of all the wild things that are about to happen. As Nora got ready for bed, she put her tooth inside of a bag, placed it underneath her pillow, carefully sliding it just in the perfect center of her pillow. She wanted to make sure that the tooth fairy would know where to look. And the center of underneath your pillow is exactly the perfect place. Later that night, everything was going according to plan. The tooth fairy had arrived while Nora was fast asleep, and the tooth fairy carefully reached underneath the pillow, opened up the plastic bag, and took the tooth out and placed it in their knapsack. Then the tooth fairy flew off to deliver it where it needed to go. But unfortunately, something terrible happened. All of a sudden, the tooth fairy sneezed a horrific sneeze. Magic powder went flying everywhere. And so did Nora's tooth. The tooth fairy couldn't believe it, as it had just watched its prized possession, the tooth, fall right into a sewer drain under the street.
I think I might get in trouble for that.
There was nothing this tooth fairy could do as she flew back to her castle. But that tooth that had fallen out of her bag and got sprinkled with the magic fairy dust, it landed underneath the street in the sewer drain, and it came alive. Oh boy, it's like a water slide down here. Whee! That little baby tooth that came out of Nora's mouth was now alive and going down some kind of sewer water slide. Ew, it's kind of gross. Well, by the time it reached the bottom of the sewer slide, it had splashed down into a disgusting pile of mess.
Hey, what was that sound over there? It sounded like something went kersplat.
I don't know, but, that's just a big pile of muck over there.
I know, Steve, but come on, let's go check it out. I think something fell.
The two purple ninjas walked over to that pile of muck, and that is when they saw it.
Wow, that's the most disgusting tooth I've ever seen. Come on, get it for me. The boss will love it.
Okay, I'll... Oh man, I fell in the muck. Help me!
The purple ninjas were now covered in a giant pile of sewer muck. Yeah, excuse me, pardon me, coming through. Nora's tooth was now walking right past the purple ninjas, who were now very distracted from this giant mess that they had fallen into.
Hey, is that a talking tooth? It's getting away. Hurry, Steve, get it.
I can't even... Whoa!
Steve was now way too slippery to even stand up without falling over, and Nora's tooth was able to slip away. The next morning, as Noah woke up from her long sleep, oh wait, my tooth, is it gone? She picked up her pillow, and sure enough, that plastic bag was now completely empty, and right beside it, here's $1! Yes! The tooth fairy was definitely here, said Nora, as she put her dollar in a very special place and did a happy dance. Little did she know that something terrible had happened to her tooth, but she was about to be reacquainted with that old tooth friend. Nora went to the kitchen to eat a delicious breakfast, which it felt funny to chew any food now with that tooth missing. And if you've ever lost a tooth before, you know exactly what I mean. When you got a big hole in your mouth, it feels weird and kind of hurts sometimes to bite into crunchy foods. As she was eating some soft, warm oatmeal, she heard a tap, tap, tap on the front door. She walked over to the front door, unlocked the door, and opened it wide. And, hello? Hello? Is anybody here? Nora couldn't see anyone there, but then she heard a small voice.
I'm down here. Hello? I could really use a bath or something.
Nora then looked at the ground, and there it was, a very icky, gooey, muddy, slimy little ball of... Wait a second. Is that my tooth? Said Nora. How did you get here?
Well, I think I fell out of the tooth fairy's pocket, and now I'm covered in all this disgusting mess.
Holy smokes, that is a big mess. Why don't you come on in and take a toothpaste bath?
Oh, that would be amazing.
And Nora let in this new silly tooth into her sink and gave it a toothpaste bath because it was covered in all that disgusting muck. But this tooth would actually go on to become great friends with Nora. I think it's because he came alive after that tooth fairy sneezed her dust all over him. Well, that may be the end of our story, but it's just the amazing adventures that lie ahead for Nora and her magical tooth. The end. We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor.
Hey parents, it's Mr. Jim here. This back-to-school season, give your kids the tools they need to have fun while they learn with Osmo. Osmo's Reading Adventure Learn to Read game is an interactive tool aimed at children ages 5 to 7 that help them practice and develop reading fundamentals, turning them into young, confident, skilled readers, because it's never too early to fall in love with reading. Watching our youngest play with Reading Adventure this summer, I can see how much more ready he is for when kindergarten is starting very, very soon. Visit playosmo.com to check out the Reading Adventure new reader kit today. That's playosmo.com. Osmo, learning well played. Visit playosmo.com to check out the Reading Adventure new reader kit today.
Hey friends, I need your help celebrating a birthday. All right, this birthday kid's name starts with a W and ends with an N. All right, think about your guesses. Do you have any friends that have a name like that? Drum roll, please. Happy birthday, Wesson, who's turning 8 years old. Wesson loves lacrosse, Pokemon, and chicken wings. Wow, I love all three of those things as well. Wesson, I'm so glad that we got to celebrate you and your birthday on the show. Happy birthday, Wesson. I hope it's the best one ever. Great job. You listened all the way to the end, and you know what time it is. It's time for Kid Shoutouts. I want to say hey to Boaz from Israel, Cora and Evelyn from Minnesota, Henry from Washington, Camden from Idaho, Cole, Miles and Zoe from Connecticut, Zara and Neil from New York, Noam, Harold, Rowie and Liana from Israel, and Aaron from Abu Dhabi. I'm so glad that you're all on the Kid Short Stories family. I love going on these adventures with you every single day. Friends, if you want your own shout out on the episode, have your parents head on over to kidshortstories.com and fill out that form to get your name on our kids shout out list. Well, friends, I hope you have a super duper day, and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye.